This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Anyone remember the steps in the program development? Hmm? Very good. Mhm. Check for the syntax errors. Very good. Run the code or test the code. Fine. Check for logical errors. Fine. Super. Okay. Okay. So today our topic of discussion would be uh, exception handling. The next feature actually. So this is the fourth feature that we'll have. Exception handling. Okay. So why did you ask then what about errors and all? Because Python has a mechanism, but Python has a mechanism that can handle the runtime errors. Handle what? Runtime errors or exceptions. What Python has? Python has a mechanism that can handle the runtime errors or exceptions. But first of all, we need to understand what is this exception. So then we will go into the things. But before that, as I've told you, we will be understanding what are errors. First, we'll understand what are errors. Then we'll understand what are the types of errors. Then we'll understand the importance of this exception handling. Okay, right. So errors in programming. Errors in programming. So not only this, we have errors in all the programs. So without error, there is no programming language at all. Okay. So errors in program. So what is an error? An error is a mistake. An error is a mistake that takes place in the program. Error is a mistake that takes place in the program intentionally or unintentionally. Intentionally or unintentionally. So error is nothing but a mistake. Simple. It's a mistake that takes place in the program intentionally or unintentionally. So wantedly or unwantedly కావాలని చేస్తాము ఒక్కొక్కసారి మనకు తెలియకుండానే వచ్చేస్తాయి. సో ఆ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ అన్నమాట. Okay. So whenever I'm talking about the error, it's a mistake. Simple. Okay. In Python coding, we come across we come across three types of errors. In Python coding, we come across three types of errors. Two already we listed in the what do you call in the steps: syntax errors and logical errors. But today we'll talk about this particular error also. Okay, so first one is syntax errors. Syntax errors. Next is runtime errors. So runtime errors or exceptions. Okay. And the third one is going to be logical errors. Logical errors. So first we'll talk about the syntax errors. So what is syntax errors? The errors that will come up when you don't follow the rules and regulations. That's it. Simple. Yes. What you when you'll get the syntax errors when you are not following the rules and regulations of the programming code. Okay. The errors that will come up when we do not follow the rules and regulations of the program ecosystem. Program ecosystem means program environment. So program ecosystem. So if we are not following the rules, okay, so the rules and regulations of the program ecosystem. Okay, right. When syntax errors happen, not even a single line, not even a single line will get executed. Not even a single line will get executed. So when you get a syntax error, not even a single line will get executed. Not even a single line. One single line also will not get executed. So error may be there in the first line, or error may be in the fifth line, or error may be in the 10th line. So suppose the program is 50 line. Error may be in first line, second line, third line, or 10th line, 15th line. No matter what, your program will get execute or give anything. Give anything. So it will just give that error and leave. That's it. Yes. Okay. So these errors, these errors must be corrected. Must be corrected by the programmer. Must be corrected by the programmer. Programmer has to correct those errors. That's it. Programmer has to correct those errors. That's it. Nothing else programmer can. So programmer must go back in the step and he has to rewrite not all the code wherever you are getting that error. Is this clear? Yes or no? Okay. Now, sir, any example can you give? Okay, I'll give the example also. Okay, so in the example, uh, now just uh, printing the area of a rectangle. We'll go to just little bit of mathematics. Okay, so now printing the area of a rectangle. Now what I told you, the inputs may not be clear. So they'll not give the data. They'll just say print the area of a rectangle. So you have to think about the inputs. Data anyhow you can take anything. You have to think about the input. You have to think about the logic. All that you have to think. Yes? Okay. Now, area of a rectangle means length into breadth is a formula. Then for that length into breadth, you need length, you need breadth. Yes or no? Okay. I'll take length is equal to some 50. Breadth is equal to some 60. Okay. So area is equal to length into breadth. So this is what we know. Yes sir. Right? And I am saying print of area. Right? Now P. Generally P should be small letter. P should be small letter. There should not be spaces. So what are all these? These are syntax errors. These are syntax errors. So when you get syntax errors, when you are not following the rules and regulations. Now, for example, this thing, if I execute, okay, so now the error is coming here, let's say. Now whole program will be stopped. Now it will not do anything. So it will not take this also, it will not do this also. Because syntax error means you are not following the rules. Why I should make you enter the gate basically. In your college, if you are not following the rules, so they will not make you enter the exam hall or something like that. Yes or no? So in the same way, syntax errors must be corrected. So what you have to do? You have to go and correct it. Space is not allowed. Uh, so keywords, if you are using keyword, okay, there are many things we will talk about. Okay, so now this is okay. So I want to execute this here. Okay, so now let me run this. Okay, okay. So P should be small. So print of area. So it is no output, I mean, no error, nothing else. So I just use here. Okay, so I gave something like this. Now what it gave? Syntax error. So it is invalid syntax. You understood now? Invalid syntax because you gave space here. Now this also is not executing. Okay, so if you see here, now when the program was correct, okay, when the program was correct, see on the right, what are created? Okay, when the program is right, these are created automatically, yes or no? Now when the program is wrong, or when the program is having some syntax errors, so see here. Now is there anything created? This is no, this is nothing wrong. This is nothing wrong. But are they created? No. Why? Because syntax errors will stop doing anything. Will stop doing anything. Getting my point or not? So what is this error? Syntax error. So what kind of error that you are getting here? You are getting an error called as which error? Syntax error. So what is syntax error, sir? Syntax error means if you are okay, okay, all right, child, right? Program without syntax error. Without syntax error, right? Okay. Now I will write program with the syntax error. Okay, so program with the syntax error, right? So I will cut it from here, and this error also I will cut from here. Understood? So what you are getting? You are getting a syntax. Invalid syntax means you are not following the rules. Simple. Yes. So here, what should happen? That length, what should be taken off? The space should be taken off. Now, what you are doing, sir? You are correcting that error. What you are doing? You are correcting that error. Am I clear? Yes. So this is what is which error? Syntax error. Okay. So these errors must be corrected. Okay, super. Next, runtime errors. Next what? Runtime errors. So whenever I say runtime errors or exceptions, so these are the things that will come up at the runtime, program running time. Okay, right. These errors will come up at the program running time. Program running time. Program running time. Program running time means testing time. At the time of testing, when the testing will happen, when there is no syntax error. It is as simple as that. Yes, when there is no syntax error, only testing will happen. Otherwise, no testing will take place. Yes or no? Okay. So these errors will come up at the program running time, and the exception will not make the program flow. Will not make the program flow continue after it has occurred. After it has occurred. So after it occurs, it will not make the program to continue. Is it clear? Okay. So, sir, example. Right. So we'll go for the same example. Let's say something like, uh, okay, something like B here, capital. Okay. Now see here, what happened? Where is mistake? Where is mistake? Here B capital I took. Here small I took. Where is the exception? Tell me. Exception is here. There is exception. Exception is here. What is the exception name? Name error. That is the exception actually. Now what you have to observe? Length and breadth created, no? Means things are happening before. Before the exception, things are happening. Remember, things are happening before the exception. After the exception, things are not happening. Yes or no? Okay. So I can give you one more example. So let's say we will also calculate the perimeter. So perimeter is equal to, what is perimeter? 2 into L plus. Okay. So 2 into L plus B, right? Okay. Length plus breadth. Simple mathematics things I'm giving. So here I'll use capital letter only. Okay. And I will print the area here and I'll print the perimeter here. So this would be very easy to understand. Okay. Now, what is 3000 here? Area. Area got printed, no? Why area got printed? Because you are using it right. But what is not getting printed? Perimeter is not getting. Means this line, this line is not getting executed. If that line is not getting executed, next lines also will not get executed. Why? Why? Because the flow stops. Hope you're understanding my point. So flow stopped. So what all the things came? Area came, breadth came, length came. But who is the one did not come? Perimeter did not come. Why sir perimeter did not come? Because B is the culprit there. Yes. What is the error name? Name error. So this like this, you will have so many errors. Like this, you'll have so many errors. So there are some 50, 60 runtime errors basically. We will talk about that later. Yes. Okay. Now, sir, is this correct? Is this correct in the sense? Now, for example, it is a 60 line code. Let's say it is a 60 line code. So error is coming in fourth line or fifth line. That fourth line or fifth line, you just try to put it aside. And what about the next line? The next line should execute. I'll tell you a simple example, the real time example. I'll tell you. Generally, there are 50 employees, let's say. So, sixth employee has given his account number wrong. Sixth employee has given his account number wrong. So, generally, what happens is to bank, these HR people will send an Excel sheet. Generally, the salary process I'm taking you, they'll send an Excel sheet, and that Excel sheet they will load in their system, and automatically the salary gets credited into their system. Sixth person has gave a wrong account number. Yes, first person credited, second person credited, third, fourth, fifth also credited. Sixth person should be stopped because he gave wrong number. But what about the others? For others it should be credited, no? Getting my point? For others it should be credited. Why it is not crediting for others? Why it is not crediting? Because you got a runtime error. You got a runtime error, not a syntax error. It is. See, instead of one, he gave two. What is there? Hope my point is clear. So instead of one, he gave by mistake. It happened. It gave two. But the other person's salary should be credited. No. Yes or no? So that is what is exception basically. Exception means there is a runtime error. While loading that page, there was a runtime error. Account number was wrong. In the same way, this is also happening. Then there is a solution. I should keep that sixth person aside and give him a letter saying that your message is wrong, something, something. Yes, your account number is wrong and all. So then I have to process all the others. Yes or no? So how to do that in programming? In programming, we can do that by using the exception handling concept. Which concept? Exception handling. Exception handling means what? I will make that 6800 line separate and I'll ask the programmer to correct it later. That is different case. But what is the result of exception handling? The next lines will get executed. That is important, no? Hope my point is clear. So this power is also there with Python programming. That is what we are learning. Object oriented is a power. Exception handling is a power. Yes. So these are all powers we are talking about. Again, the exception handling is a big topic. Okay, so for 2 days we have to discuss this topic later. How to do the exception handling? What are the things that we have to take care? Okay, so where how we can write them and all that we will talk about later. Is this clear? Okay, so what error I got here? What error I got? Name error. Okay. Now, what is the reason behind this name error, sir? It can recognize no b, small capital. Only that is small difference. No, it doesn't matter at all. Small, big doesn't matter at all. Mistake is a mistake. Now, if system can do all that, what is the use of programmers? Yes or no? If system can do that, what is the use of programmers? So, system cannot recognize. So, for it, capital B is capital B only, small b is small b only, right? So, these things can be dealt with in like small b, capital B kind of things. For HTML, JavaScript, that is fine for them. But here it is something strict. Programming ecosystem is strict for these things. So please remember that. Capital is capital, small is small. Okay, so that point also you have to remember. It's not a syntax error because in the calculation I can keep this. But what is that error? Runtime error. So there you are using capital B, here you are using small b. How can I accept it? It will not understand what to do. Understanding my point? So when the exception will be occurred, the exception takes place. Understanding? The exception takes place when the program do not understand, when the program do not understand what is needed to be done with the piece of code. Okay, so a programmer gives small b, I should give some value. It can't give any value on its own. It cannot use that value because that value is capital B, this value is, so it will be in a kind of confusion. So that is why it will give you better I'll stop here. What it is saying? Better I'll stop here. It is as simple as that. Yes or no? Am I clear? So that is what is happening. Now, when you are talking about the syntax, I mean, the runtime error. So what you can see? Okay, so let me put all the things because some of the executions are taking place now. Some of the executions are taking place. Output also is coming. 3000 output is also coming, and the inputs are also getting created. Yes or no? Inputs are also getting created. But what is happening? Once your exception is coming, once your exception is coming, everything stopped. Everything stopped. Is that clear? Yes or no? Now you understand the difference between syntax error and runtime error. What is syntax error? Syntax error will stop. It doesn't matter sixth line came or fifth line came before, after. Means that file format is wrong. Syntax error means what? That file format is only wrong. Which I gave, which my HR gave, the file format is only wrong. I will not even load that file. Yes. Now what about this runtime error? Five or six things are correct, but sixth person is wrong. Then I cannot go further. It is as simple as that. So how can we handle this? By the concept of exception handling. Okay. So the exceptions needed to be handled. The exception needed to be handled. So you need to handle them. You need to handle them. The exceptions are needed to be handled using the concept of, is the concept of what? Exception handling. Exception handling. Using the concept of what? Exception handling. Is this clear? Hope you're understanding my point. So exceptions means runtime errors. Runtime errors means when the system is not understanding what to do. Instead of capital B, small b you give, it cannot determine that value by itself. It cannot print that value. Then confusion. Okay, so this is what is exception handling. Is that clear? Okay, now finally, which errors are? Logical error. Logical errors. So whenever I'm talking about logical errors means the errors which will come up in the program at the end. Why, sir, you are saying at the end? Because you will see the output also. You'll see the output also, but the output is wrong. The output is wrong. Understanding my point? So you will look at the output definitely, but the output you are expecting is different, and what you are getting is different. Am I clear? So what are logical errors? The errors that will come up at the end of the program. So at the end of the program, leaving you with the leaving you with the unexpected output. Unexpected output. Yes, leaving you with which output? Unexpected output. I'll tell you a simple example. Now you go to DMart. So generally in DMart, what they say, on every item you will get 6% discount. Now let's say that job is given to some programmer. So that programmer, instead of making it 6, if he has made, see, 6 means what? So generally percentage means we are writing, no? So 0.06, minimum of 0.0. So programmer, maybe he is in some hangover or something, he wrote 0.6. Now tell me what happens. On every product you are giving 60% discount. Now DMart will be closed, isn't it? So it is as simple as that. Yes or no? What? Where is wrong there? Is the syntax wrong? Is it a runtime error? It is a logical error. So logical error means what you are expecting is different and what you are getting is different. So 100 rupees product means 100 rupees product should come for 94 rupees. But how much it is coming for? It is coming for 40 rupees only. So it is making a loss of rupees 54 for the DMart person. Yes? Getting my point or not? So logical errors are dangerous, I should say. Why, sir? Why you are saying like that? You will get the output, no? Runtime errors will stop. Syntax errors will stop somehow, right? But logical errors will not stop. No, they'll give the output. Yes. Then how can I avoid such these logical errors? Two things there. First thing, make your logics perfect. Make your logics perfect. Second thing, test the code before delivering it. Test the code 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Test the code. Yes, is my point clear? Logic building, here you will learn. Testing the code after you enter into the company, you have to test. So you just don't come to a conclusion. Sir, Friday evening, no, I have to go party. So let it be. Okay. So కొంచెం ఒక 2 hours spend చేసైనా దాన్ని మీరు you have to make it perfect. So for 10 or 15 inputs, కరెక్ట్ అవుట్పుట్ వస్తుందా, నేను ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేసింది ఇది నాకు అది వస్తుందా, ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేసింది ఇది వస్తుందా. సో దీస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ ఆర్ వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇన్ ద రియల్ టైమ్. Okay. So here logic building I will train you, not a problem. But when you go to the real time, what you have to do, you have to test the code. ఎంత టెస్టింగ్ చేస్తే అంత మంచిది అనమాట. ఎస్ సార్. సో మన ఫోన్ కొన్న కొత్తలో టెస్ట్ చేస్తుంటాం, రింగ్ టోన్స్ పెట్టి అవి పెట్టి. ఎస్ సార్, ఇది బాగా వస్తుందా, ఇది బాగా వస్తుందా. సో ఇది బాగా వస్తే ఇది పెట్టుకుంటాం, ఇది బాగా వస్తే ఇది పెట్టుకుంటాం అట్లా. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు టెస్ట్ ఎ లాట్. Is it clear? Okay. So logical errors will come up when at the end of the program, leaving you with what? Unexpected output. Unexpected output. Okay. Sir, example. Okay. So we'll go for an example. Example. Okay. I'll just give a use case. Print the increase. Increase the salary of an employee by 5% and print it. Now tell me, what are the inputs required? Salary and percent. Percent directly you can take, but better we take in different way. Okay. So salary salary is equal to, okay, something like 5,000. Okay. So now, what do you call percentage? No. So what is that? Increase percent. Increase percent is equal to 5%. Okay. So let me make it short. So INC percent is equal to how much? Increase percent is equal to how much? 0.05. Okay. Now salary is equal to salary into increase percent. That's it. Okay, super. Now print the salary. Now do the calculation and tell me. 5,000 salary is equal to 5,000 into 5 by 100. So 250. Now salary has become what? Salary has become what? 250. Is salary 250? What you are expecting? Salary should be 5,000 plus 250. So it should be 5250. But now how much it has become? 250. Means what error? No syntax error, definitely. Because you followed the rules. No runtime errors because there is no code that will not be understood by the programmer. I mean by the system. Right? Then what you have? You are getting a logical error because you are getting the wrong out. What is expected? What is expected? Expected is 5250. Okay, actually is 250. So it's a loss of 5,000. Yes or no? Then what I can do, sir? I have to go and correct it. Yes. How to correct it, sir? I have to say salary plus salary into increase percent. Understanding now? Yes. So this is the way that we need to deal with the logical errors. You can't expect it to give some message. No, it will not. Logical error will never give you any message. It will not say, hey boss, here is where you are making mistake. No. So you have to be perfect with your code, perfect with your logic. Okay, what are the two things I told you? You become perfect with the logic. Second thing is you have to test the code. You have to test the code. So test the code with multiple inputs. Put your expected outputs and check your actual outputs. So that thing only you can do. Other than that, you can't do anything. Yes, you have a way for syntax errors, you have a way for runtime errors, but you don't have any way for logical errors except making yourself perfect. That's it. Understanding? Okay. So this is the thing about exception handling. So exception handling mechanism you have to learn separately. Yes. Okay. So exception handling mechanism you need to learn. You need to learn it how we can stop the code from going out of the code. That is only the thing. Yes. Okay. So Python uses the exception handling for handling the exceptions. Okay. However, the syntax errors must be code corrected. Must be code corrected. So syntax errors must be code corrected. Syntax errors must be what? Code corrected. And the logical errors must be avoided must be avoided by thorough examination of the code. Thorough examination of the code. Yes or no? Thorough examination of the code in the sense making your codes perfect and testing the code. Testing the code for 5 6 times. Take the different inputs from different people. Okay, and check. Okay, right? Okay, so these are the very important features of Python. Okay, so like in Java you have 11 or 12, here that much not required. So here we have these features, that is enough, more than enough. Okay, now it's time to start our real coding. Okay, but before starting the real coding we need to understand the components of the program. What we need to understand the next, so slowly but surely we are working towards the programs. Already you wrote some program, that is definitely a good sign for us, right? But now we will understand it, we'll understand it from the components. Okay, ఇది యూస్ చేశాను, ఇది ఈ కాంపొనెంట్, ఇది ఈ కాంపొనెంట్, అట్లా మనకు తెలియాలన్నమాట. సో కాబట్టి we are going to understand the components. I told you Python is a language which is developed and understood. Already we developed the programs, now we are going to understand them. Yes. Okay, so whenever I say components, what do you mean by components? Parts. Simple. Parts of the program. So you are writing programs, you are using different things. 50 అంటున్నారు, equal అంటున్నారు, length అంటున్నారు. Okay, and you are using this one, you are using this one. ఏంటి సార్ ఇవన్నీ? What are all this? We need to understand. Yes, we need to understand them from the programmer's point of view. నేను యూస్ చేస్తున్నానంటే అవి నాకు అర్థం కావాలి కదా, అవి నాకు అర్థం కాదు నేను యూస్ చేసి ఏం లాభం? ఎస్ ఆర్ ఓకే సార్, ఆల్రెడీ డెవలప్ చేసాం కదా, తెలుసుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం ఏంది అని కాదు, తెలుసుకోవాలి. తెలుసుకుంటే ఇంకా ఎఫెక్టివ్గా వాటిని యూస్ చేయగలము. am I clear? So components means the parts of the program. The components means nothing but the parts of the parts of the program. They are divided into two categories. They are divided into two categories. First one, non-executable components. Non-executable components. Second one, executable components. What are executable, non-executable? What you are talking about? Okay. So when I'm talking about execution, what is execution first of all? Execution means running. Yes. When you run the program, what you are expecting the program to do? The program to give some output. Program execute చేస్తున్నాము అంటే program output రావడానికే కదా. Yes or no? Non-executable means the components which will not give you any uh, output, basically, which will not affect the output literally, which will not affect the output. The executable components will affect the output. Non-executable means which will not affect the output. Hope you're understanding. When I'm talking about non-executable components, these components will not affect the output directly or indirectly. వాటికి డైరెక్ట్ ఎఫెక్ట్ కానీ ఇండైరెక్ట్ ఎఫెక్ట్ కానీ ఎవరి మీద ఉండదు, మనకి అవుట్పుట్ మీద ఉండదు. సో అట్లాంటి వాటిని మనం ఏమంటాము, వి కాల్ దెమ్ యాజ్ నాన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్. ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్ మీన్స్ దేర్ విల్ బి ఏ డైరెక్ట్ ఆర్ ఏ ఇండైరెక్ట్ ఎఫెక్ట్. డైరెక్ట్ ఎఫెక్ట్ ఉండొచ్చు, ఇండైరెక్ట్ ఎఫెక్ట్ ఉండొచ్చు అన్నమాట. సో అట్లాంటి వాటిని మనం ఏమంటాము, ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్ అంటాం. మరి ఏంటి సార్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్, నాన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్, హౌ కెన్ ఐ put it in the program and what are they, we will understand. But first we will write a simple definition. Okay, executable, I mean sorry, non-executable components means the components of the program which are available in the program and that do not affect the outputs directly or indirectly. Directly or indirectly. Do not affect the output directly or indirectly. Getting my point? Okay. Then what kind of components are there, sir, in Python? In Python, we have comments. We have comments that are called as components, non-executable components that are called as non-executable components. Yes, comments. Okay. Now we'll understand what are comments. The lines of code that are written using the following syntax. Okay. Hash, line of comments. What is this hash, sir? Hash is the symbol. So when you put hash, it becomes a comment. When it is a comment, it is a non-executable component. It is as simple as that. Yes. Second line also comment you want. Line of comments. Understood? So like this, any number of lines you can write. Okay, sir. One example. Okay. Let me go for the same program. Okay. So this time I will put everything correctly. Now tell me what is the output? 3000 and 220. Now here, right? Now are they affecting any output? Before comments, output is the same. After you keeping comments, output is the same. Then why you are using the comments, sir? I want to show you. When I do this, I'm getting that 3000. When I'm doing this, I'm getting 220. To convey some information, that's it. I want to convey some information. Now, for example, I'll put the name. Okay, so this program is for finding area and perimeter. Yes. Now, what is that? Comment. Is that clear? So, comments are non-executable. So, now if I run this, any change in the output? Why? Because comments are not executable. ఉన్నా కానీ అవి చేసేది ఏం లేదు. So that lines are only for information. This is a program అని చెప్తుంది. ఏరియా చేస్తే ఈ అవుట్పుట్ వస్తుంది అని చెప్తుంది. అర్థమైందా? Hope you're understanding my concept. Yes. So what are these? These are the comments. These are the comments. So whenever I speak about comments, comments are what? Comments are the non-executable components. Comments తప్ప వేరే ఏవైనా ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్. ఇవాళ నుంచి మనం కోర్స్ అయ్యే వరకు ఏవి చూసినా ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్. కోర్స్ అయ్యేంత వరకు. ఐఎమ్ నాట్ సెయింగ్ టుడే ఓన్లీ. కోర్స్ అయ్యేంత వరకు కొన్ని లిస్ట్ అవుట్ చేస్తాం, కొన్ని ఇంపార్టెంట్ లిస్ట్ అవుట్ చేస్తాం. తర్వాత ఇంక వచ్చేటివి అన్నీ కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ అన్నమాట. హోప్ ఐఎమ్ క్లియర్. సో నాన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటబుల్ మీన్స్ కామెంట్స్ ఓన్లీ. సో పైథాన్లో ఏంటంటే ఓన్లీ వన్ స్టైల్ ఆఫ్ కామెంట్ అఫీషియల్లీ గివెన్, బట్ అన్అఫీషియల్లీ కూడా మనము కామెంట్స్ని యూజ్ చేస్తాం. ఎట్లా అని చెప్తాం. Hope you understood the concept. So what are we talking about? We are talking about the components of the program. So components లో first one ఏంటి మనం చూసింది? Non-executable component. Non-executable component means the components of the program which are available in the program and that do not affect the అవుట్పుట్ డైరెక్ట్లీ ఆర్ ఇండైరెక్ట్లీ. ఏంటా కాంపోనెంట్స్? కామెంట్స్. కామెంట్స్ ఎట్లా ఇవ్వాలి? హ్యాష్ పెట్టేసి కామెంట్ లైన్ రాశారు, హ్యాష్ పెట్టేసి కామెంట్ లైన్ రాశారు, అంతే, అంతకని ఇంకేం. ఎస్ సార్, ఎక్కడైనా యూజ్ చేయొచ్చా? ఎక్కడైనా యూజ్ చేసుకో. ప్రోగ్రామ్ లైన్ పక్కన యూజ్ చేస్తావా? ఎక్కడైనా యూజ్ చేసుకునే బట్ ఈ లెంత్కి అవి పెట్టొద్దు. మళ్ళీ లెంత్కి పెట్టారనుకోండి, ఏమవుతుంది? లెంత్ కామెంట్ అయిపోతుంది, అంటే ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవ్వదు కదా. సో వాట్ ఇట్ విల్ సే? విచ్ ఎర్రర్? ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ, వెరీ గుడ్. సో ఇట్ విల్ గివ్ యూ ఏ నేమ్. ఓకే, ఆల్రెడీ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయిపోయినాయి కాబట్టి మనకు వచ్చేసింది ఆన్సర్. ఎందుకు వచ్చింది నేమ్ ఎర్రర్? లెంత్ కామెంట్ ఉంది అక్కడ. లెంత్ కామెంట్ ఉంది అంటే మనకి ఏమొచ్చింది? లెంత్ని రికగ్నైజ్ చేయలేదు, లెంత్ని ఇగ్నోర్ చేసింది. అర్థమైందమ్మా? సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ వాట్? ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ది కామెంట్. ఎందుకు అది కామెంట్? ఒక ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ని ఇవ్వడానికి మాత్రమే. సో డూ నాట్. ఓకే, సో ఐ రైట్ ఎ నోట్ హియర్. ఏమన్నా అర్థము? డూ నాట్ కామెంట్ the IPOs. What sir? Again, you're talking about IPOs. Exactly. If you are commenting inputs, outputs, and processing, what will happen? There will be errors. Always keep that in mind. Okay. Do not comment the IPOs. IPOs means inputs, logics, and the outputs. Because inputs are important for processing. After processing, I have to display the output or I have to give the output. That is also important. Is it clear? So that is what is very, very important. Okay. Comments are generally used for providing the information about the programs. Comments are generally used for providing the information about the programs. Okay, about the programs or the LOCs. LOC means line of code. LOC means line of code. Okay. మొత్తం ప్రోగ్రామ్ కైనా ఇచ్చేయచ్చు, ఒక్కొక్క లైన్ కైనా ఇవ్వచ్చు, మన ఇష్టం ఎక్కడైనా ఇవ్వచ్చు. Line of code of the program. So comments are generally used for providing the information about the programs or the LOC, line of code of the program. Is that clear? Okay. Unofficially. Okay, so not officially here. Officially, this one is only there. Unofficially, we can also use triple single quote. Okay, comment goes here, right? Unofficially, we can also use triple single quotes. We can also use what? Triple single quotes. Actually, they are called strings. We'll talk about that later. Unofficially, we can use this also. Yes, no problem. We can use that also. Right? It is unofficial. It is not like Python environment has told that these are comments. No. Python environment told that only hash followed by the line is a comment. Okay. So this is it for today. So tomorrow we will start with the which components? Executable components. So today we learned exception handling. We learned what is error, and we learned what are the types of errors. Okay, and then we learned what are components, and then we learned what are executable and what are non-executable. Is it clear? So tomorrow we will talk about the executable. So executable may we will have keywords, variables, data ఇట్లా యూస్ చేస్తాము, ఇవన్నీ కూడా వస్తాయి. Okay, so first we will list out some very important. Then whatever we are learning from today, they are executable. right? Thank you.